Visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So we learned to find the total solution of a system in the Z domain. Even separately also we learned how to get the steady state response, transient response, or I can tell without applying initial conditions how what is the behavior of the system, with input applied what is the behavior of the system, and finally the actual behavior of the system, which includes both initial and the initial conditions and with the input. Okay, so that will be the actual behavior of the system. So we analyzed all these solutions for the system in the Z domain. So that was very easy for us to analyze it in the Z domain because we got the system in terms of algebraic equations, and finding the solution for that will be easy in the Z domain. So this part of analysis, because of the easiness in finding out the solution for the system, we transform the discrete time signals into the Z domain, because for the analysis purpose for finding the solution of the system we did that. But there are other characteristics of the system like frequency response and all, which will not be easy for us to observe in the Z plane. Rather, we have to convert them into the frequency domain so that we can analyze the other part of behavior of the system, like for particular frequencies, whether the system is going to behave differently, whether it is going to stop signals after certain frequency, whether it is going to allow the signals after certain frequency. Okay, how the system will behave for different frequencies. Okay, so all these behavior we can analyze in the frequency domain of the, we have to observe the frequency domain in the frequency domain. So filtering characteristics of the system. So we have to design filter. For that we need to analyze its frequency response. So now we are going to that next section, that is the, we will study in detail about the frequency response of the linear time invariant discrete system. Okay, we learned how to get the frequency response. We just observed that by putting z equal to e raised to j omega in the transfer function of the system, we can obtain the frequency response of the system. That much only we so far we have learned. So we understood that h of e raised to j omega is the frequency response of the system. Okay, so our transfer functions gives the entire characteristics of the systems. Okay, and with that transfer function we have obtained the solution in the Z domain. Now we are going to observe, or we are going to study the frequency response of the system with the help of that h of e raised to j omega. Now there are two ways to convert the signal into the frequency system. One way is by converting the frequency. If I have already converted the signal into the Z plane by using the transfer functions, transfer equations, I have already converted the discrete time signal into the Z plane. Then by putting directly Z equal to e raised to j omega, I can convert the signal into the frequency domain. That is one way. Another way to convert discrete signal to the frequency domain is using the Fourier transform. Okay, so using the Fourier transform also we can transform the signals into the frequency domain. So far we will not, as per your syllabus, we will not go in detail for the Fourier transform. Rather, we will use the other method. That is, we have already transformed the equations into the Z plane. Okay. Now we will put Z equal to e raised to j omega to obtain the frequency response rather than using the other way. I am telling the other way is also available to obtain the frequency response. So let us take that equation, that is h of z, that is the transfer function of the system. In that, just put z equal to e raised to j omega to obtain the frequency response of the system. So what is h of e raised to j omega? What is the definition for that? We have just substituted only. So let us observe the definition for h of e raised to j omega. It is summation from n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity h of n. So summation of what? It is h of n is the impulse response of the system. H of n is the impulse response of the system. So it is the summation of that impulse response. So h of n into e raised to minus j omega n. So e raised to minus j omega n will convert this impulse response into the frequency domain. Okay. So the function h of e raised to j omega is called the frequency response of the LTI discrete system, and it provides a frequency domain description of the system, which mainly we require for the filter design in the digital system. Mainly the filter design, again all these depends upon the frequency response of the system. So we need to learn about the frequency response. Now h of e raised to j omega, from the function itself we can make out it is a complex function of omega, okay, with a period of 2 pi. Even though we are converting into the frequency domain, h of e raised to j omega is a complex function of omega with period of 2 pi. So that since it is a complex, I can segregate that complex into two parts. One is the real part and the other part is the imaginary part. So h of e raised to j omega can be written as HRE. RE indicates the real part. HRE of e raised to j omega plus j h imaginary. IM denotes the imaginary part. So h IM e raised to j omega. So if I can segregate into the real and imaginary, then let us observe the magnitude. I can represent it in the other way, that is the polar way also. So I can write it as magnitude of h of e raised to j omega into e raised to j angle h of e raised to j omega. So in the complex, we need sometimes the complex representation of h of omega, as well as sometimes we may require the polar representation. Now the magnitude is how you will observe the magnitude, how you will obtain the magnitude under root of h of RE square plus h of imaginary square, and how you will obtain the angle, how you will obtain the angle for the complex.
Tan inverse of imaginary by real.
Yes, tan inverse of imaginary by real. So I have not written it separately here. So h of omega is periodic in omega with period of 2 pi. Now one thing you have to observe here, it is the magnitude response is an even function of omega and symmetrical about y-axis, whereas phase response is an odd function of omega and it is anti-symmetrical about y-axis. So from this we understood h of omega is complex, so it has got a magnitude and it has got a phase also. So magnitude, if I plot it separately, then the plot will be symmetrical about y-axis. If I plot the phase separately, then that will be anti-symmetrical about y-axis. Okay, so the function that is the magnitude h of e raised to j omega, that is known as the magnitude response, and the function h of angle h of e raised to j omega is known as the phase response of the discrete time system. So the plot of magnitude versus omega is called the magnitude response plot, and the plot of angle of h of omega versus omega is called the phase response plot. Okay, so we need both plots separately to study the behavior of the system for various frequencies. So design specifications of this LTI system. So in many of the applications are given in terms of the magnitude response or the phase response, or sometimes both they will be mentioning the design requirements or criteria. This is just an example of the plot of magnitude versus omega and the angle versus omega. So it is again in logarithmic scale, not directly on omega in radians. Okay. Now you can obtain the magnitude and the phase from the pole zero pattern also. Just now we have seen how to obtain the magnitude and how to obtain the phase. Magnitude is the under root of real part square plus imaginary part square, and the phase was tan inverse of imaginary by real. Now from the pole zero pattern of the system also we can obtain the magnitude of that system, that is the frequency magnitude response and the phase response. So how to that? We have that, let us take an example. H of z is given to you, numerator z minus z1, that is the gives you the information about the zeros, and the denominator z minus p1 into z minus p2, where p1 and p2 are the poles of the system. Now putting z equal to e raised to j omega, we will obtain the frequency response of the system. So this h of e raised to j omega, that includes both that equation. The entire equation includes the phase response as well as magnitude response. So in this equation we cannot separate out the magnitude and the magnitude response and the phase response. For that we need to go separately take the magnitude and the phase respectively. But this is a rational function in for h of e raised to j omega. So this rational function, it gives directly the information about the poles and the zeros, not directly the phase response and the magnitude response. Now let us see from the poles and location of the poles and zeros how to obtain the magnitude and the phase response. So let us plot this zeros and the poles. So zeros are at the origin and the poles, let us take it, P1 and P2 are here. That red circle denotes the unit circle and e raised to j omega. So this is your frequency response at the unit circle. If I put z equal to e raised to j omega, you will obtain the frequency response. Okay. Now how to get the magnitude and the angle? So the magnitude can be obtained by measuring the distance of the zeros to the unit circle. Where is your zeros located? Now in this case the zero is located at the origin. So distance of the zeros to the unit circle. So let us mark that black dot, that is here e raised to j omega, where you are finding out the frequency response by putting z equal to e raised to j omega. So you are just measuring the distance of the zeros to that point. Okay, so which is denoted by a green arrow. Now we need to take the distance of the poles P1 and P2 to this point, to the point on the unit circle. So let that blue line indicate the distance of the pole P1, and P2 we have one more pole also. Let us indicate with another arrow. So there are three distances measured, that is one of the 1, 0 and 2 poles. So their distance are measured. So this is a graphical method of finding out the magnitude and the phase response, okay, with the help of the zeros and the poles. So the magnitude response now will be equal to the magnitude of the distance of the zeros to the unit circle divided by, okay, there was only 1 0. If there was 2 zeros, then again the second zero's distance also will be taken into consideration. They will be multiplied, divided by the distance of the pole P1 into the distance of the pole P2. So this will give you the magnitude of the response of the function. Now to find the phase response from the pole zero plot, we need to find out some angles of the zeros and the poles. So let us mark the reference for these angles. Okay, now the angle from the x-axis in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, the distance from with respect to x-axis in the anti-clockwise direction. So for the 0, the angle is, the mark is phi 1, and for the pole P1, the angle from the x-axis in the anti-clockwise direction, so it is phi 2, and for pole P2, the distance, the angle is phi 3. So now the phase response will be equal to the angle of 0 minus the angle of poles. So phi 1 minus phi 2 plus phi 3. If there are two zeros, then it will be the sum of all the zeros angles minus the sum of all the poles angles. Okay, so this is the graphical way of finding out the magnitude and the phase response from the by plotting the poles and zeros in the Z plane. This is an example showing the plot of the magnitude and the phase response. Now let us take an example. Given to you is a discrete difference equation. You need to find out the magnitude and the phase response of this system. So first what we will do, we will apply the Z transform, obtain the transfer function in Z plane, put Z equal to e raised to j omega. Then after obtaining h of omega, you can segregate the magnitude and the phase response. So apply the Z transform. So y of z minus phi, z inverse y of z, since it is y of n minus 1 is shifted. So multiply with z inverse equal to x of z plus 4. Again x is shifted by 1, so z inverse x of z. Segregate the y of z and x of z terms. Then to obtain h of z, divide y of z by x of z. So you will obtain h of z as 1 plus 4 z inverse upon 1 minus 5 z inverse. So again simplify those equation of h of z so that you will obtain h of z as z plus 4 divided by z minus 5. So the frequency response, how you can obtain? By putting z equal to e raised to j omega. So just substitute z as e raised to j omega, so that you will get h of, either you can write h of e raised to j omega, or you can write the h as a function of omega, that is frequency. So h of omega also you can write. So you obtain the frequency response. Now e raised to j omega I can write in terms of sine and cos. Expand it in that way. So you can write cos omega plus j sine omega plus 4 divided by cos omega plus j sine omega minus 5. Why we are writing is to obtain the magnitude response, we need to segregate the imaginary and the real parts. Now you can obtain the magnitude response of the system is under root of, on the numerator, what is the real part? Cos omega plus 4. So real square, part square plus imaginary part is sine omega. So sine omega square. Similarly, on the denominator also, the real part is cos omega minus 5 and the imaginary part is sine omega. So this will give you the magnitude of the system. If you expand it again, simplify that equation, you will get under root of 17 plus 8 cos omega divided by under root of 26 minus 10 cos omega. Now we need to find the phase response of the system. So phase response of the system is tan inverse imaginary by real. So we can either you can convert segregate the h of omega in the real and imaginary together, or I can do it separately on the numerator and denominator, like h of angle of that system is equal to tan inverse of the numerator imaginary by real. Of the numerator, what is the imaginary part? Sine omega. What is the real part? Cos omega plus 4. So tan inverse of that minus on the denominator tan inverse of what is there in the denominator, what is the imaginary? Sine omega, and what is the real part? Cos omega minus 5. So this also will give you the give the phase response of the system.
Ma'am, attendance posted.
Yes. All of you fill the attendance. Okay, so from the transfer function, we obtain the magnitude response and the phase response of the system. Now let us take one more example. We have y of n equal to x of n plus x of n minus 4. For this, again need to find out the magnitude and the phase response. So taking z transform for this equation, x of n plus x of n minus 4, we'll get y of z equal to x of z plus z raised to minus 4, isn't it? It is n minus 4 shifted by 4 units. So you have to multiply with z raised to minus 4. So z raised to minus 4 x of z. Segregate the y of z term and x of z. Only y of z term is y of z term is there on the left hand side. Right hand side it is two terms, that is 1 plus z raised to minus 4. So y of z by x of z will give you the h of z, which is 1 plus z raised to minus 4. Now obtain the frequency response as putting z is equal to e raised to j omega. So h of omega, which is the frequency response, is equal to 1 plus z, we are putting e raised to j omega. So it will become 1 plus e raised to j omega 4 minus j omega 4. Now e raised to minus j omega 4, I can write it as e raised to minus j omega 2 into e raised to j omega 2. So this will be equivalent to e raised to minus j omega 4. Why we are writing? Because we need to again write it up in the sine and cosine terms. Okay, so in h of omega, if I do these changes, it will be 1 plus e raised to minus j omega 2 into e raised to minus j omega 2. Take e raised to minus j omega 2 common from the terms. Okay, the first term doesn't contain, but the second terms contain two terms of e raised to j omega 2. If I take that out, then the first term will become e raised to plus j omega 2, and from the second term, one of the term will go out. So left out is e raised to minus j omega 2. Now, what is e raised to j omega 2 plus e raised to minus j omega 2 by 2 divided by 2? Can anyone tell? E raised to j omega 2
Cos
plus
omega.
yes, cos. Yes. So,
Cos h omega.
Cos
H omega.
h omega. Okay. So here I will divide and multiply by 2. Then only I can write it in terms of the cos terms. So here you can write it will become cos 2 omega. Okay, you have to that step I have skipped it here. Okay, you have to multiply and divide by 2. Then only this can be written in terms of cos 2 omega. So it will be 2 into e raised to minus j omega 2 cos 2 omega. Okay, so now I can find out the magnitude. Magnitude is magnitude of this term, that is 2 e raised to minus j omega 2 into cos 2 omega. Magnitude of that this complex term will come out to be 1. So it will be, now you will be left out with 2 cos 2 omega. So that is the magnitude of the magnitude response equation of the h of omega. Now you need to get the phase. Phase is directly 2 omega, minus 2 omega only. So angle will be minus 2 omega. Now if I need to plot this, okay, if I need to plot this, I need to give different values for omega and I need to find out what is the magnitude for this. Like for pi by 4, it will be 0. If I put it in the equation, that is h of omega in this, if I, sorry, magnitude of h of omega in this, if I put for omega different values, then I will obtain like this. For pi by 4 it is 0, even for minus pi by 4, right hand side as well as left hand side it is 0 only. Then for pi by 2 it is 2, 3 pi by 4 it is 0, then for 0 as well as pi it is 2. So your function will be somewhat like this. You have your, on the y-axis you have omega. Okay, let us mark this is at the origin and mark it at pi by 4 it is 0. So this is pi, first term is pi by 4 minus pi by 4, then here you have plus pi by 4. Y-axis it is magnitude is plotted, h of omega. Okay, so at minus pi by 4 and plus pi by 4 it is 0. Now what is at 0? It is coming out to be 2. So let us mark it here 1 and here somewhere it is 2. Okay, in between if you plot it, it is not a smooth curve, it will not be a straight line. So let us extend beyond this also. At pi by 2 again, it is coming out to be 2. So somewhat like this, sorry. Okay, pi by 4 it is 0. Again at pi by 2 it will come up to 2. It will come up to 2. So like that it will be the magnitude response. And similarly you can plot the phase response. One more table, one more column you can add, in that you can obtain the angle h of omega for these values. So similarly you can plot the phase response also. Now if the phase difference, okay, just now we plotted for various values of omega, we plotted the magnitude. Phase we didn't plot, you can try by yourself. So if I plot the phase also, okay, if the phase difference at omega equal to pi and omega equal to 0, so let us take that phase difference, angle h of omega at omega equal to pi minus angle h of omega at omega equal to 0. That way we will find out the phase difference at omega equal to 0 and pi. So if this phase difference is 0, then the system is called as a minimum phase system. Okay, minimum phase shift will be there for this kind of system. Then if it is an integer multiple of pi, then the system is known as a maximum phase system. Okay, if the phase difference at omega equal to pi and 0 comes out to be a integer multiple of pi, then system is known as a maximum phase system. And if it is a non-integer multiple of pi, then it is known as a mixed phase system. So all these we require for the filter design to understand the characteristics of the system, to understand the stability of the system. That is why this is given, that this system description will be like, it will be a minimum phase system, or it will be a maximum phase system, or it is a mixed phase system. So the characteristics of the system is given here. So in another way to describe this minimum phase and the maximum phase system is in terms of the zeros and the poles. If the zeros of the discrete time system are inside the unit circle, for the zeros lies inside the unit circle, it will be a minimum phase system. And if the zeros lies outside the unit circle, then it will be a maximum phase system. And if it is, some are inside the unit circle, some are outside the unit circle, then it is known as a mixed phase system. Okay, so here there is a delay happening while the signal is passed through this kind of system. Like if it is a minimum phase system, the delay will be minimum for the signals, and maximum the group delay. There are different phase delays there, group delays there. Again, group delays of the, it is of the envelope or the carrier for the signal. That is the delay for caused due to that. So whenever a signal passes through a system, there will be a phase difference between the signal at the input and the output of the system. Okay, and how much delay is happening to the system depends upon the characteristics of the system. So if it is a minimum phase system, the system will be more stable. So there the delay will be less, whereas for maximum phase the delay will be maximum, whereas if it is a mixed phase system, it will be somewhere between the maximum and the minimum phase system. So by plotting the phase response of the given system, you can come to a conclusion that whether the system is a minimum phase, maximum phase, or the mixed phase system. So all these we need, all the frequency response, all these phases, everything we require for the filter design of the system, of the discrete time system, that you will learn after the next chapter. One more chapter is there. After that, we will take up all these characteristics and we have to design the filter as per the given specification. So let us summarize what we have learned. We will do one numerical for that. So we found that in the transfer function obtained in the z plane, if I put z equal to e raised to j omega, I can obtain the frequency response. So frequency response is nothing but the summation of the impulse response of the system in the frequency domain. So it will give you the entire description of the system in the frequency domain, how the system will behave for different range of frequencies. It is a complex function of omega and it repeats after a period of 2 pi. So since it is a complex, we cannot plot h of e raised to j omega separately. So we need to separate out it imaginary and the real part. So we can segregate it as the in the complex mode as the real and the imaginary. We can express it in the polar form, that is in terms of magnitude and phase. So the magnitude of the function is obtained by taking under root of real part square plus imaginary part square, and the phase part is obtained by tan inverse of imaginary by real. So magnitude response and phase response together will give you the frequency response of the linear time invariant systems. So we can plot the magnitude and the phase separately to study the frequency response of the system. So as we have seen, many design specifications will be given in terms of magnitude and phase response. So this is an example of the magnitude and the phase response in logarithmic scale. Now from the pole zero pattern also we can obtain the magnitude response equation and the phase response. So after plotting the zeros and the poles in the Z plane, what you need to do is you need to obtain the magnitude of the zeros from the unit circle where we are calculating the frequency response, that is where we are putting Z equal to e raised to j omega. To that point we need to measure the distance from the zeros and the distance of that point from the poles. So let us take P1 and P2 distance. Then the magnitude response is equal to product of the magnitude of the distance of the zeros divided by product of the magnitude of the distance of the poles. So this will give you the magnitude response, and the angle we are measuring for these distances with respect to positive x-axis. So the angle of 0 in anti-clockwise direction with respect to positive x-axis, real axis, is phi 1, and for poles P1 and P2 it is in the anti-clockwise direction it is phi 2 and P2 it is phi 3. So phase will be equal to sum of angles of the zeros minus sum of angle of the poles. We have seen an example to obtain the magnitude and phase response. First what we did, we obtained the transfer function h of z. So for the given difference equation, obtain the transfer function in z plane, then substituted as e raised to j omega for z. Then to obtain the magnitude, we substituted for e raised to j omega in terms of sine and cos, and magnitude was obtained. Similarly, the phase is obtained by tan inverse imaginary by real. We have done it for another example also, and here we tried to plot the magnitude and the phase with respect to various values of omega. And if the phase difference at omega equal to 0 and omega comes out to be 0, then it is a minimum phase system. If it is a integer multiple of pi, it is a maximum phase system. If it is a non-integer multiple of pi, it is a mixed phase system. Another way, if all the zeros lies inside the unit circle, it is a minimum phase system. If it lies outside the unit circle, it is a maximum phase system. And if it is some are inside and some are outside, then it is a mixed phase system. So these are the various categories of the system in terms of delay caused by the system.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, non-integer means it should be positive.
Non-integer, whether it should be positive. I have to check that, whether it can be negative. I have to check that.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm not sure about, so I will not comment about it.